Welcome to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, your host and founder and attorney at Meldon Law. We've been serving the North Central Florida community since 1971, and we would love to help you if you have a need. We represent folks that have been injured in accidents, and we like to think that we give the top-notch service and results. So don't forget about us if you or a friend or family member have a need. We can be reached at 352-373-8000 or go to meldonlaw.com. A couple other things going on. So basketball is in full swing. Meldon Law is now the official partner for all the women's sports at the University of Florida. And Gator basketball is one of our favorites. Kelly Ray Finley, the coach, is doing a great job of bringing in top talent. We want to create a lot of excitement and fun. After each game, where the kids can get out on the floor, shoot baskets, and get prizes. So anytime you want to go to a women's basketball game, just show up, bring the kids, and they'll have a blast. Other things going on, men's basketball, we have a big package for the first visit of the University of Texas to Gainesville for basketball. January 18th, and we put together a VIP package because we think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's Meldon Law Day. We have two great seats for the basketball game January 18th, $250 to go buy swag at the UF bookstore, and dinner for two at the Roadhouse, Texas Roadhouse restaurant, and a bunch of other swag that we're going to be putting together for you. So all you have to do is go to our Facebook page, Meldon Law, and enter, and you can win. We're also continuing our campaign to support important local charities. This year, it's the Ronald McDonald House, and Meldon Law is donating $19.71 for every free throw made by both the men's and women's basketball team. So check it out. We want to help this extremely important charity. They provide very essential services for families who have kids that are being treated at the University of Florida for cancer, leukemia, heart disease, young kids, and their families are disrupted, and the Ronald McDonald House provides place to stay and food on the table for the whole family, whoever's coming. They have over 50 suites there, so let's support them. If you want to volunteer, just call up the Ronald McDonald House, Gainesville. Just Google it and tell them you'd like to help prepare dinner. That's what my wife Patricia loves doing, is going over there and helping, and it's they need help, and volunteers are warmly welcome. A couple other things. We still have some time left to go see the Winter Wonderland at the World Equestrian Center in Ocala. Check it out. Over 1 million light bulbs there. And, when I grew up, we used to go to the General Electric Park and drive through. They had a gazillion lights, and it was one of my favorite times of the year just to see all the lights. So World Equestrian Center in Ocala is doing that, and they also have other stuff, like there's a real Santa Claus there. Santa Claus actually went to WEC, and he is there in indoor arena number 2, And you can, the Grinch is in arena number 1. Oh, wow. So they got everything going. Entertainers, musical performances, face painters, balloon artists, festive foods. Breakfast with Santa is an option. The Tinsel Trot 5K under the lights. So head to World Equestrian Center. You'll have a blast. Couple other things. The Nutcracker Dance Alive, December 19, 20, 21, and 22 at the Gainesville Phillips Performing Arts Theater. That's an awesome production company. They're a national company located in Gainesville. They travel all over the United States and sometimes outside the United States performing. So Meldon Law is sponsoring their last practice before the live shows start, and we're inviting the Flagler School for the Deaf and Blind to come and enjoy the magic of Nutcracker. We're doing it on Wednesday afternoon to make them watch and feel the final rehearsal for Nutcracker. So we're excited about that. Santa Fe, December 27th and 28th. My good friend Dan Cross, who played with the 1994 Final Four Gator basketball team, is a wonderful man, and he's partnered up with a group of folks that are putting on the 7th annual Florida Get Down event. 18 high school teams are invited from all over the state of Florida and Georgia, and all games are under one roof. It's a great competition. If your kid's into basketball, check it out. It's called Florida Get Down. Florida Get Down event with Dan Cross. So that's what's going on. Go to our Facebook page. We have lots of free information there. Or go to our website, meldonlaw.com. Right at the top, you'll see the books that I've written that help explain what kind of insurance you need, and a second consumer guide explaining what you should do if you have been in a crash or someone you know has been. What are the steps that you should take? So that's it. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes on Meldon Law and Friends.
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
I was going down a one-way street, and a girl that was driving her car T-boned me on my scooter. I ended up going for an MRI and discovering that I had 2 herniated discs. Coming to Carey allowed me to not have to worry about what doctor I was going to see or what physical therapist I had to go to. They say, these are the people we trust. You're going to have a great experience there, and I honestly did each time.
Call Meldon Law. Your consultation is absolutely free.
And I was in an accident. Someone ran a red light and hit me, and I was hurt. You don't know where to turn. Luckily, I called Jeffrey. These big insurance companies, they don't want you to win. They truly don't. But Jeffrey and his firm and the people that work here, they just really fight for you. You call the law offices of Jeffrey Meldon, because you're going to need help, and they will help you.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Hey, Sammy, look who's there. Say hi.
Hey!
You again!
Meldon Law, Jeffrey speaking.
Jeffrey!
Somebody else hit us here! Here we go again. Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder and attorney at Meldon Law, and we are so excited. We have a great guest for us today, Brandon Rhymes, who is a real estate professional, coach, teacher, author, and a former athlete, USF football, 1996, and was involved in lots of athletic events, and then he decided to focus his attention on real estate. How are you doing today, Brandon?
I am blessed and highly favored, Jeffrey. I appreciate that.
Well, great. We're here to talk a little bit about real estate, but even more importantly, I want to get into some of the things that you're an expert in as far as sales, branding, radio, TV, ventures that may help that. Why don't you tell the listeners and viewers a little bit about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. Yeah. So my name is Brandon Rhymes. I'm a local radio and TV show host. When I say local, here to Tampa Bay. And we do have projects going on in Gainesville as well. We have pre-construction luxury condos in Gainesville, just about a mile from the stadium. But yeah, one of my passions is helping people, being a consumer advocate. So I host a show called the Consumer Quarterback Show, and it's all about consumer advocacy, and it's helping people understand their buying decisions around real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning, all these different areas of life that we maybe necessarily weren't taught in school. So that's why I've started my show 11 years ago, and it really serves a purpose as a marketing strategy also for our real estate company. My wife, Lindsay, and I own a top 100 ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay with Keller Williams Realty. And it's a lot of strategy behind it. A lot of the strategy is that we also feature our listings live on air, and that helps our sellers, maximize the exposure and the profit on the sale of their real estate. So yeah, people really like that as well about our team.
Yeah. So how does that work?
Yeah. So what we're doing is, of course, we're taking professional photography, video of all of our listings, and then we actually pitch the listings on air. So as we're talking here, I'm driving, and my broadcast radio show is broadcasting at 4:00 drive time here in Tampa Bay on 860 The Answer, which is Salem Media's flagship station here in Tampa Bay. I come on right after Charlie Kirk, the Charlie Kirk show from 2 to 4, and then my show's on from 4 to 5. It's also translated on 93.7 FM, and then with the broadcast, and we have cameras in studio, much like your setup there. Beautiful setup, by the way. I love that. We feature our listings on the show. So we're actually putting on screen our real estate listings, pictures of the property, and a brief description. So that's part of the strategy that works for us, and our sellers really like that, Freddie.
So you bring on some of your sellers. What about buyers? You bring on happy, satisfied buyers as well?
From time to time, we will, and the listings are more of what the eye candy is for the real estate business, and then for the buyers and sellers and investors, we really talk about strategy because a lot of times buyers don't understand the process. And especially in a market like we are in right now, we can negotiate, all types of really great deals for our buyers and investors. We're able to factor in and have the sellers contribute closing costs, prepaid items, buying down the rate sometimes might be an advantage for a buyer. So a lot of the business strategy behind it is what we talk about as well.
I know you wrote a book, Train the Presenter, Win with Sellers. Is that right?
Well, that's the course that I teach. We teach that class called Win with Sellers, and that is a class that I really like to teach because I get in front of other agents. I like to get in front of my peers and kind of share ideas, and it's all about the abundance mentality versus the scarcity mentality. So many people have that scarcity mentality in real estate or sales. I have the abundance mentality where I don't mind sharing ideas and collaborating and figuring out, hey, how can we help out? Do you have a particular niche that might be better served for a particular client or an area? And then, so giving back. And I'm also a negotiation expert. So I love teaching classes and interacting with people, especially around negotiation.
What are some books you'd recommend as far as becoming a negotiation expert?
Yeah, I would look at making sure that you're picking up the right courses, books. A lot of audio books are available now. There's a really good one by Chris Voss called "Never Split the Difference." He was a former FBI hostage negotiator. I actually had him on my show a couple of years ago, and I would recommend pick that book up and start utilizing some of the tactics in your everyday life, because we're all in negotiations, whether it's negotiating with our wife or negotiating with our kids or coworkers or clients, and start putting those into practice. Start trying those out in low risk situations, because low risk practice will eventually equate into high risk reward.
Yeah, I'm a friend of Chris Voss. I know him. I've met him a couple times, and we're in a lawyer mastermind group, and he comes and talks with us. And I bought his book and given it to everybody on our team. So you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
If Chris is awesome,
Love it.
man.
What a great book. It's got some great
and,
stories in that book. I love the stories.
And for those who are listening to this podcast, if you're interested, Chris actually has a team that'll help coach you up as well. He's really expanded his menu of services offered. So I know you went. I know you went to Tony Robbins' course. Oh, I love it.
That's
a little
right.
bit. So for those of you that are listening, tell us the best way to contact you.
Yeah. You can reach me directly on my cell phone. I am I'm the type of person, I always try to answer my phone. I always try to help people, and anything I can do, please feel free to reach out. I'm at 813-917-1894. That is my direct dial. You can text that number, 813-917-1894. My email is real simple. It's my first initial last name, BRIMES, BRIMES at KW, like Keller Williams.com. So BRIMES at KW.com. And our real estate, our radio show website is consumerqb.com, like quarterback, the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Were you a quarterback when you played football?
I sure was. I was quarterback all those years ago, and my dad was the coach. And we actually won Pop Warner football, the state, and we went to the Super Bowl when I was 10 years old. We played in Pop Warner Super Bowl #1, and we lost to the Atlanta Colts.
Man, that must be fun having your dad as a coach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know how that plays out, right? They're always tougher on the kid, but it makes you strong. It makes you tough. It makes you a winner. It makes you compete. And and a lot of our group that was successful in Pop Warner together, we had an undefeated championship team at my senior year in high school, and we actually lost the state championship game to a team right outside of Gainesville, Lake Butler, Union County. If you remember those boys, they kind of used that prison
strong
around there to recruit, so they were strong, but we actually should have beat them. But yeah.
Well, I coached my son for 6 seasons of soccer, in youth soccer, when the kids were like 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, and the rule was everybody had to play at least half the game. Okay.
Yeah.
And my son, who was playing at a high level, that was something he would comment about. He said, "Dad, how come I can't get in and play more?" And I say, "Well, son, this is not NFL. We're having a good time and we're learning."
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And my dad used to say, "You don't have fun if you don't win." So I think back then you had to get a minimum of like 4 plays. Each person had to get a minimum of 4 plays.
I know. Now they give trophies to every kid. that
Yeah.
plays win or lose. And my son and I, have this attitude that what happened to the old days when just the winners got the trophies?
Yeah, exactly. The good old days.
Well, then it means more, right?
It sure does. Yeah, it's a meritocracy. That's what our country is built on, and
Well,
that's what we're going to be getting back to.
So, Brandon, let's segue from that into real estate sales and what winning means.
Yeah, winning in real estate is maybe different for different people. I think for sellers, my main focus is I work with listings. I'm a listing agent, and I love to help my sellers sell faster for more money, and also, list price to sell price ratio is something that you can look at. An interesting stat that I just heard, because I interviewed on my show today. I interviewed our operating manager. He's over all of our offices that have about 1,000 agents out of the 3 offices here. And he brought up an interesting stat. His name's Aubrey. And he said, Brandon, 25% of all listings in Tampa Bay are actually selling over list price. And for some people, that might be a little bit of a shocker, because they say that, you keep hearing, oh, it's a bad market. It's not a great market. I'm going to wait till next year. But, let me repeat that. 26% of all real estate listings have sold for over asking price. And the ones that do, and that's a testament to the sellers that list their property at the right price and reject the premise of listing high and, oh, we can always come down on the price later. That's not the way to do it.
It's very interesting that you say that, Brandon. My father sold real estate. He built large communities of homes. He built over 2 communities with over 500 homes in each community. And he told me you should never have the listing price more than 5% over what you're willing to take.
Right. That's a good point. Absolutely. Yeah. You want to list it as close as possible to where you want to sell, where you need to sell, and more importantly, where the comps are. We always want to look through the eyes of an appraiser. We want to study that price and look at it through the eyes of an appraiser, because that's really who's going to determine the sales price when it comes to, of course, a loan, conventional USDA, VA, FHA financing. And then, of course, people will say, oh, yeah, but what about cash? Well, what do cash buyers want? Cash buyers normally want a bit of a discount because, hey, I'm paying in cash. And they probably won't get an appraisal. But, yeah, when it comes to value, you got to look at it through the eyes of an appraiser.
So knowing that, how do you discuss with your sellers how to price their home?
Well, we're going to look at each property. Yeah, each property is going to be a little bit different. So if it's vacant land, there's a little bit different conversation to be had. But your typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, 2-car garage, and a 2,000 square foot community, those are going to be relatively easy to price, because it's going to be, based on what the other home sold for that's similar. Now, you do get into some situations where one may have a conservation view, no backyard neighbor. The other is going to have a pool. But then that's when the appraisers will gross up, or they'll gross down the square footage based on that. So, yeah, I present the comps, the comparables. They should be recent. They should be like and similar. Another rule by the Uniform Standard Procedures Act, or whatever they go by, they want to bracket the subject property. So they want to have one property on the appraisal that's bigger, one property that's smaller, one home that maybe has similar updates and upgrades. So you want to present that to the seller and try to make it make sense for them, because ultimately, you're a team working together. When you're working with a seller, we form a partnership there for a short period of time, depending on how long it's going to take to get through that cycle of a listing and get all the way to the closing. So
now, winning in real estate in 2015, let's talk about that.
2025. Yeah. So when you look at, winning going forward, you want to look at what are some of the latest strategies, what's some of the newer technologies, what can I implement into my business? And I've got a company that I work with that is on the forefront of technology and the changes that we're seeing. There's ways that you can streamline your business utilizing artificial intelligence, and still keep it to where it still can be personable, But sometimes people just want quick answers, and that's where sometimes technology can step in and help you with some of that. Um, when you think about marketing, you still want to use video. Video is big. People love to see video. They love to have that. If you're using video, you've got to have the technology that adds the words at the bottom of the screen. It sounds like a little thing maybe, but some people are watching at night in the bed next to their spouse, and they don't want the volume on. They just want to read, what the video is talking about. So there's all these things to consider. But yeah, when you look at that, how to win in 2025, it's going to be a lot about, what is the latest technology? And then some of the basics always ring true. Reaching out to your database, making sure you're keeping a good database and following up with that database and adding value. How can you add value to your database? Well, one thing that my team does is we have a monthly gratitude party. Every single month, we're hosting a party. Everybody knows it's on the third Thursday of the month. And we're going to be at, for example, in Tampa, we have Brio Tuscan Grill, a nice restaurant partner at the mall, the International Plaza Mall. Or we may have it at on Lake Tarpon in Palm Harbor in Pinellas County. There's a nice restaurant there called the Tarpon Turtle. But everybody knows every month we're doing a third Thursday gratitude party. And now what that does, Jeffrey, is that allows you as a salesperson, it gives you a reason to call your database, right? Instead of just calling and saying, hey, how's it going? How's the family? How's work? How's business? You do anything in real estate? Anybody knowing that looking to buy, sell, or invest? Instead of just calling and having that same conversation, you're calling with the value add. Hey, I wanted to invite you to our monthly gratitude party. Oh yeah, it's going to be a great time. We're going to have food, drinks. We're going to have some entertainment there, and it's going to be over at Brio Tuscan Grill at the International Plaza Mall in Tampa. So that's one thing. That's another way to add value.
Yeah. While you're talking about restaurants, I got to give a plug here to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where we're recording from in their awesome podcast room. Our good friends Freddie Wiebe and Steve Spurrier run an incredible place here. Have you had a chance to come up here yet, Brandon?
We have been. I've been to every home game, and many times I set up right next to your tent and your setup there at the Gator Fest. So we're at the Gator. It's right
Fan
between
Fest.
the O'Connell Center. Fan Fest. That's it. Right between O'Connell Center and Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. We would set up, and we were representing Archer Place, which is the pre-construction luxury condos that my wife and our team are selling. We've already sold 25% of those as well. And there's 92 pre-construction luxury condos. But yes, so we went to a lot of the games, every home game. My wife and I were there personally, and we would have, the setup. We'd have the model set up there out front, and we were generating sales for Archer Place, which is the condominiums that we're selling right there off of Old Archer Road, just north of, I believe it's 34th Street.
Yeah, I saw something being torn down there. I don't know if it was the old Cardinal apartments or something else, but I did see a tear down going on. I said, okay, somebody's figured out this land is valuable because of the location.
Yes, right on. Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like it. It's just north of off of Archer, and it's just north of 34th there where there's that Shell gasoline station on the corner. And it's just up there where Old Archer kind of bends off to the right.
Yeah. Well, that's a great location, and I hope our listeners are paying attention. If you want to get a pre-construction price on a luxury condo, all you have to do is give Brandon a call, and he'll give you the information, and we'll go from there. What are some things you've done as far as, I know you have a mortgage and finance background, and a lot of folks here in Florida right now and around the country are shell-shocked because of interest rates and also prices. What's your comment on, how to approach the real estate market knowing that interest rates and prices are at all-time highs?
Yeah, it's kind of a scenario where we were spoiled for a while when we had those 4%, 3% interest rates. A lot of people got spoiled a little bit. But right now, if you look at a 6 and a 7% roughly, on the mortgage, we're not quoting an APR, so the mortgage police can't come after us. But when you look at a 6 or 7% mortgage, it's still not that bad of a deal. I mean, think about it. You're able to leverage other people's money, OPM, and where else can you leverage? Like, for example, let's say 3% down to control a $500,000 asset, for example, for as little as 3% down, and sometimes even 100% financing. And then if you can ask the seller, if you can build in a lot of times equity from the seller as concessions, you're able to get seller concessions where those concessions can go to buying down the rate. So you can even do like a 2-1 buy down to get your rate even lower. You can also ask for closing costs that will save money coming out of your pocket as the buyer towards closing costs. And then there's other down payment assistance programs out there. Now, these are specific for a lot of times for each municipality or county. They will have different programs available. There's also, hero first time buyer programs and hometown heroes, different programs there. So, yeah, I would just focus on, being able to get in. I did on my show today. I quoted a new study that came out that talked about homeowners' children. Just the benefits that homeowners' children have from being stable in their environment, from getting better math and reading scores. I mean, there's so many benefits, tax write-offs, tax purposes to home ownership. And then, when you couple that with, the appreciation over time, Florida is going to be appreciating. I mean, people, as much as, every time we have a hurricane, it's like, oh, there's a hurricane, there's another, storm. But 6 months from now, people won't be thinking about the hurricanes so much. They'll be enjoying their Florida lifestyle, whether it's, living on the beach, living on a lake, or just living close to downtown, walking to, enjoying the walkability that some areas can provide. I think that's one of the key elements to consider, is that you can always refinance later and don't get too caught up on the rate.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point, Brandon, that the interest is deductible. Your taxes are deductible. There's lots of deductions that you can. So if you're in the 33% bracket and you get to write it off, then you save a third of what the interest rate was. So if it's 6%, it's really 4% effectively.
Right.
There's a lot of folks don't think of it that way, but the interest, even though interest rates are higher than most people have seen in their lifetimes, historically they were not in the threes for the last 60 years. Back
Right.
in the night, my dad used to sell homes in the 60s when interest rates were up there, at 5, 6, 7%. And once in a while, he'd see people with mortgages at 3% from the 1950s. But that was a long, long time ago. And if you look at the average mortgage rates over the last 60 years, they're probably right at close to where they're at now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. If, there was a stat that I saw talking about just like that, just exactly what you said, Jeffrey, is, the cost of waiting. It was a stat in a study that I saw that was talking about the cost of waiting. So yeah, the key is just get in. You're going to be building up equity. You're going to be building memories. Your kids are going to have a better lifestyle versus renting. If you're renting, you're not building up equity. There's also the tragedy of the commons. People, when you think about renting a property, the ownership and the owner pride is just not there. You're not going to have that same experience. It's just not going to build the same type of rapport with your neighbors. There's a lot of different things to consider. And a lot of times you can't throw the cool house parties either. You might get kicked out by your landlord. So there you go.
Well, yeah. And there's a whole thing now, with the hedge funds buying single family homes and holding on to them as assets. And sometimes they don't rent them out to the best people and things
Yep.
like that. So,
yeah. And I think there needs to be legislation stronger, stiffer legislation around that, because it really breaks my heart, and it really pisses me off when I see a veteran, a first-time buyer, a young family, a single mother trying to buy a home only to get beat out by the big hedge funds, the BlackRocks, the Vanguards that are just throwing cash around. And then as the seller, hey, they're going to be enticed to take the cash because I don't have to wait for the financing for that veteran getting the VA loan or that first-time buyer. Right. So there needs to be some legislation around that.
Yeah. And also, there's a lesson to be learned. The hedge fund people are very, very smart. And if they're investing in single family homes, then that probably is an indication that it's a good investment, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And that's where the smart money is. If you follow the smart money, you figure it out pretty quickly that real estate is a sector that's built more millionaires than anyone. I mean, we've all seen and heard those stats. So yeah, when you think about investing in real estate, it's a winner.
Yeah. And I think one of the lessons I'd like our listeners to come away with today is don't procrastinate and try to find reasons not to buy your dream home. Look for the opportunity that exists by jumping in today, because prices are probably not going to go down, number one. And if interest rates go down, it's not going to be down to 3%. It might be 5%, but the 1% shouldn't be the decision maker between buying or not buying.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. Don't wait on the rates to change. Go ahead and make that activity happen. And then here's what also happens. Here's something to think about, because if some people are saying, hey, I'm going to wait and see, I'm going to wait for rates to come down. What happens if rates do drop by a tremendous amount, over 1.5, 2 points? You're going to have a feeding frenzy again. You're going to have multiple offers. Now you're going to be competing against multiple people for that same property.
Right. Prices go up then because you have more demand than supply.
That's right. Yep. So you don't want to do that either. You want to make sure you're diligent. And another benefit also, I want to mention one more thing about Archer Place, the condos, because we're getting a lot of buyers from Shands Medical, nurses and doctors. We've had several people from the University of Florida that are actually involved in the C class or other levels of running the school, purchase in there. And there's a program and my wife Lindsay would know more about the specifics on it, but they will actually, the developers, if you buy one of the units, they will invest money into the Florida Gators athletics. So I know there's a lot of Gator boosters around there. So it's a way that if they were to buy a condo at Archer Place, which is 3101 Old Archer Road, and we have people on staff at the model center almost 7 days a week. I think it's 6 days a week now. But just find out for more information, just give us a call and we'll put you in touch. But yeah, they're going to donate to the athletics program, because I know there's a lot of Florida boosters around there as well.
Well, I don't know if you knew this, but Meldon Law is the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. So I think that means we count as a booster.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. And if we sell some condos, from the podcast, we'll have to get some athletics money flowing over that way.
Well, let's plug these Archer units a little bit more. What's the mix on them as far as 1, 2, 3 bedroom and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, so we're offering 10% off retail right now during the pre-construction pricing. I think that's through the end of the year, maybe in January. And then you also, so they're 1 bedrooms up to 3 bedrooms. They start in the 400s and it goes up to the 900s. Matter of fact, we just put a penthouse under contract last week for just over $1 million. Now, the penthouses are gorgeous. I think there's 9 of them. They're 2-level penthouses with their own private plunge pool. And this facility is going to be like nothing Gainesville has ever seen. This building and these condos. This is luxury condos. On the bottom level, you're going to have a really nice restaurant, a top of the line restaurant that's being built out for commercial. You're going to have something like a coffee shop, like your favorite coffee shop. And there's state-of-the-art fitness center, cabanas with pool with cabanas. There's a theater room. just think of everything that you could imagine at a nice luxury condo, and you won't even have to leave this facility if you didn't want to.
And it's a great location, and there's some beautiful land and trees around there. So it sounds like a really first class opportunity for those that want to get in early and get a 10% discount.
Yeah, and you could reach out to me at 813-917-1894. That's my direct dial, 813-917-1894. And our website is consumerqb.com, like the Consumer Quarterback Show. But there's an email form there that will come directly through to me as well. brimes@kw.com, BRIMES@kw.com. And make sure you mention the Meldon Law podcast here, and we'll make sure we let Jeffrey and them know about it.
Yeah, that'd be great. So it sounds like the QB is rocking and rolling here, right, Brandon?
Yes, that's right. I love it. Yes, sir. That's right.
So you got a couple kids, right?
I do. Yeah, I've got a 19-year-old daughter, and I've got a 3-year-old baby boy that he's going to be 3 in January. So yes, sir. Thanks for asking.
Is he a QB in the making?
Oh, it's funny. I played football for so many years, and I see a lot of my buddies there every weekend. They're doing a baseball game somewhere, a tournament somewhere, and this and that. I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna have my little boy, and it's his choice, but I think we're gonna be doing some hunting, some fishing, and some golfing together. Awesome. What do you think about that idea? Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, Brandon, the next time you come up to Gainesville, I'm going to text you my cell phone number. I'll give it out on the air because I love people calling me. 352-317-4400. And I will take you as my guest to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. It's a museum as well as a fabulous restaurant. And we'll come up here and hang out a little.
I love it. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate that. And likewise, if you're ever in Tampa Bay, make sure you shoot me a call on the way down.
That's great. Well, I want to thank you very much for joining us as our guest today. I'm excited about the Archer Place Apartments. That's the name, right? Archer
Condos,
Place.
yeah.
Archer Place Condos. So
yes, sir.
Whoever wants information, call Brandon at 813-917-1894. And we look forward to seeing you in the future. And thank you again for being a guest on Meldon Law and Friends.
Hey, my pleasure. You did a great job, Jeffrey. I really appreciate it.